Good evening, everyone. This is Atmospheric Alex here, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing the severe weather chances over the next few days. To start things off, we're going to take a look at our Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook for today, and we currently have a slight risk of severe weather today across portions of the Midwest here, say Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and going a little bit further off to the east, where we could be talking about some damaging winds, some large hail, very large hail, possibly down here in the plains. We're going to take a look at that in just a minute. And we could also maybe see an isolated tornado risk as well, but I'm going to have to check those probabilities again. As you can see, yeah, we're taking a look at a conditional weak tornado threat here across portions of the Midwest. Nothing too concerning. In terms of our wind, we do have a 15% chance of wind there, so nothing too crazy there. But for our hail risk, we do have a hatched risk area down here extending into the plains where we could see 2+ inch diameter hail later on this evening into the overnight hours. This is actually going to be more of a nocturnal threat, and we'll go over that in just a moment. In terms of tomorrow's outlook here, you can see we do have a slight risk. Once again, a level 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale for some of these areas, say in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and especially going into western Tennessee, where we could definitely be talking about some severe weather. As we take a look at some of our hazards here, we do have a tornado risk, and it is actually a 5% hatched risk here. So we are talking about a chance for a strong tornado in that hatched area in Arkansas, though I do think it could be expanded even further off to the west, going portions into West Tennessee here, but we're going to have to kind of wait and see on that. Still some uncertainties. A bit of our wind risk here, again, 15% chance, and I do believe, yes, we have a significant hail risk for tomorrow, where again we could see hail upwards of 2+ inches in diameter in size. Now moving on to day 3, this looks like our biggest day out of our sequence thus far, and we are talking about yet again a slight risk, much bigger this time, and a big marginal risk as well, extending into portions of East Tennessee up here. I do think we'll see quite a few outlook changes into East Tennessee. We'll kind of discuss that, like I said, later in the video as to why that may occur, and as of right now there is no significant risk of severe weather, though could that change? We'll have to wait and see. So in terms of severe weather, as we go throughout the rest of the evening here in the portions of the Midwest, we have some popcorn storms kind of firing up. They could turn a little bit strong to severe, though, as we head into around 8 to 10 o'clock Central Time tonight, and that's when they can move through areas like Chicago, Illinois. They're going into Gary, Indiana, Chesterton, Indiana. We could be seeing definitely a line of maybe some damaging winds within there, maybe some hail. And again, an off chance of a weak tornado. I'm not expecting much for you all, though. Just kind of a generalized severe weather risk, stuff you're pretty much used to at this point. Areas inside of northern Missouri here could maybe see a significant risk of hail. We were talking about that in our outlook. And then as this kind of continues on throughout the night, this is a nocturnal risk. Kind of gusts out here, our northern mode, and then you could see more storms will fire throughout the night. And just, take a look at this. It can be a very loud and stormy night for a lot of people. Actually, could be a good night for lightning photography if you wish. Now, this severe weather threat is quite unique because it has a southern mode to it. Look down here in Oklahoma, where we're going to have a risk of very large hail, and I wouldn't even rule out a potentially photogenic tornado as well. Maybe something weak, something quite visible to the naked eye. That's what tends to happen down here. In southwestern Oklahoma, you have enough dry air, and that allows for really good viewing conditions of storms. And you can see, do have a few more storms that pop off, maybe a supercell or two, kind of forms a bit of a cluster throughout the night. And then again, you could see definitely a strong, severe, maybe even a significant severe complex of storms here moving through southern Missouri, northern Arkansas. That, some of those storms could contain large hail for sure and damaging winds. And then that moves on into West Tennessee, where I currently am not located. I move back here to East Tennessee, the severe weather moves back to West Tennessee. That's basically how it works for me, it seems like. Now, as we take a look at tomorrow's severe weather risk, things look a little bit more significant, and I do think that tomorrow could sneak up on quite a lot of people, especially in Arkansas and West Tennessee. You all need to watch out closely. As we head through the early afternoon hours, you can see our convection over here will clear out, allowing for storm energy to build, and quite an environment sets up, potentially even a volatile environment in some localized spots across Arkansas. You can see some strong supercells begin to fire up across southern Oklahoma and northern Texas, specifically northeast Texas there, near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And look at that. You could see definitely have some significant supercells popping up down here. Very large hail is certainly going to be a possibility with those storms, any tornado risk. But look up here in Arkansas. We have really intense looking supercells here firing off on all cylinders. I do think, once again, 2 to even 3-inch diameter hail is possible. A strong tornado risk. Could even see an intense tornado out of a setup like this if your cells stay discrete enough. And 60 to, I'll even throw out potentially 80 mile an hour wind gusts are going to be a possibility. And these supercells are packing a punch as they move through northern Arkansas, and then they push into West Tennessee, kind of get a little more messy in nature. But we're still talking about, some areas where you could see damaging winds and some large hail and some tornadic potential. And then as we go throughout the night, this really begins to cluster up, kind of becomes more of a messy line of storms. Flash flooding would be a big concern with this, say over the Jackson area right there. Could definitely be talking about some flooding issues if this model pans out. And then you can see throughout the night these storms shift off to the south, and get ready for our next day. Our parameter space for tomorrow goes as follows. We have quite sufficient dew points here across the board, heading up into our mid 60s to low 70s across a wide area. You can see, especially down here near Dallas, we're seeing dew points actually in the mid 70s. Wow, it is going to feel hot and humid out there for sure. Across Arkansas, you can see how just humid it's going to be. This is going to be very favorable for storm development throughout tomorrow. For our storm energy here, aka our convective available potential energy, you can see we do have a lot of it building across Texas here, between 2,000 to 4,000 storm energy, or as I'd say, joules of CAPE across that area. Across Arkansas, roughly around 1,500 to 2,500. That is certainly sufficient enough for severe weather. This continues on through. We could see scattered values up to 3,000, and that's when our storms could become a pretty big issue as we go throughout tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Our storm relative helicity basically showing you kind of the chance of a tornado here in terms of our wind shear, and we're going to have a lot of it, believe it or not, across Arkansas, but especially into West Tennessee. As we go throughout the evening here, as we kind of take a gander at these storms back here, we do have some green colors, so again, a chance of a weak tornado, maybe a little bit something more across northeastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. But I would like to direct your attention out here. If we have any more storm energy, this could be a big problem. Northern Arkansas, West Tennessee, you have strong tornado potential on the board. And especially if your supercells remain discrete enough, intense plus tornado potential is on the table. It's a low chance, but a non-zero chance, a conditional risk, as they'd say, for an intense tornado. Look at some of those values in there. We could see isolated pockets upwards of even over 500 SRH. A lot of helicity going on, a lot of spin happening, and that could really increase your tornado potential tomorrow night. That kind of moves on through, and then after that, it's all said and done. If we combine all these parameters together, you get your supercell composite. Like I said, we could see a volatile environment here, mainly for hail, and, of course, your tornado risk across Arkansas there. And, of course, as that moves on off to the east, kind of becomes a bit less due to less storm energy. But I'm telling you, if we see an uptick in storm energy across West Tennessee, we may have a lot of problems tomorrow night. But again, that's if your cells can stay discrete. I'd say there's pretty much a surefire bet of significant severe weather, though, across Arkansas. I think that's where everyone is going to be looking and where they're going to be stationed tomorrow. And then you could see throughout the night, really going to have to watch Texas down here. If any storms pop off, very, very large hail is going to be possible. All right, and now as we move on to Wednesday's severe weather risk, this, in my opinion, could be one of the most interesting days out of the bunch. You can see, again, your severe weather moving across Tennessee. As we go into Wednesday morning, you could see some of it still moving through. We could be talking about, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, maybe some strong winds there across portions of East Tennessee, like Knoxville, Tennessee, Sevierville, Tennessee. Could be a very stormy Wednesday morning for you all. Kind of hope it is. That'd be pretty cool, right? And as we continue throughout time here, strong thunderstorm development is going to be possible as we head into a Wednesday afternoon, especially here. Look at that across East Tennessee. We could be talking about some strong to severe storms storm complexes there. You can see, one right within here, one right up here, and another one down here. This is not what the radar is going to look like. This is a model projection. But like I said, we could be talking about maybe a couple rounds of severe weather with a look like that. Look down here, though, further south. Look at all of these isolated showers, or I should say scattered showers. I'm learning my weather terminology a lot more as time progresses, right? You can see, some of these could honestly be rotating by this time, and I would definitely watch out down here if we could see maybe some semi-discrete supercell development, because this sure does look separated in nature. Could definitely be talking about a heightened tornado threat, maybe an enhanced risk upgrade. I might be getting too ahead of myself. We're going to wait on that. But like I said, across East Tennessee, we could be talking about certainly some severe weather. As we switch over to our NAM model, which goes further out in time, it really doesn't show all that much. Our environment arrives a lot later. The NAM is an outlier in this scenario, but you can see some cluster semi-discrete cells down here throughout Dixie Alley. That's something important to watch for. You could see like the cell near Tupelo, that would have tornado potential for sure. That one right there. Some of these clusters back here would as well. And all that, look at those supercells down there. Tail end Charlie's, kind of stuff to watch out for. And then again, your severe weather up through this area here. I would expect that to be further to the south, though. And we could be talking about a decent parameter space for East Tennessee standards. Look at those supercells on the NAM. Yeah. Definitely a day to watch for. As we take a look at our parameters here, we're going to start with our dew points here. They're definitely going to be rising in the 70s across most of Dixie Alley there. Further on off to the north, we have dews approaching the mid-60s, even upper 60s for your East Tennessee Valley locations. I mean, that's definitely going to be pretty favorable for storm development, I'd say. Definitely some severe weather potential. But as we move on to our storm energy here, you can see, again, we do have a lot of it. Around 3,000 Cape down here in some portions of Dixie. That is definitely going to support a severe risk. You only really need 1,000, so 3,000 for sure. And then again, you could see storm energy up here and then creeping into your East Tennessee Valley locations. How about our storm relative helicity? Down here, we do have a sufficient amount. You can see your green colors indicating tornado potential. And then as we go on, potentially into the evening, if our storms are later than forecasted, you're going to see our lower level jet stream kind of ramp up a bit. You see some yellow colors too. But up here in East Tennessee, you could see some of your green colors overspraying the valley, see the foothills, even into the mountains there. We're going to really have to watch out for that. Definitely could be talking about maybe some isolated tornado potential in East Tennessee. This is not a forecast. I do not want to forecast tornadoes for my specific area because normally they don't happen. 9 times out of 10, we don't see tornadoes here. But just know that the environment is potentially there, could support the risk for it. If we combine all of our parameters together, you get your supercell composite, and look at that. You see some yellow and orange colors here, even some red colors. So isolated locations could see maybe higher severe weather potential, maybe even tornado potential as well. But like I said back here, I think the main show is going to be in, say, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. That does look like some pretty good potential down there. But again, look up here. Going to have a favorable parameter space, certainly quite favorable for East Tennessee standards. You're usually used to seeing just green and yellow colors, but you're seeing orange colors here, so certainly some heightened parameters, and you can even see your wind shear would really ramp up overnight, so stuff to kind of look out for, right? Now, before I end today's video, I wanted to show you all something absolutely hysterical that I have been noticing popping up on some of the models, and believe it or not, this is actually going to happen. This is for real. We are going to be talking about a major winter storm for portions of Wyoming, maybe even Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, going even down to New Mexico. Could even get involved on the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles as well. You can see heavy snow moving into portions of Colorado, say Denver, Colorado, as we get into early Wednesday morning. Some moderate to heavy snow begins to ramp up. This even leaks into portions of Kansas, Goodland, Kansas, getting in on your heavy snow as well. And this really continues. This is quite a long duration event. You can see is kind of creeping it down to the south here. Boise City, Oklahoma. What month is it? It doesn't feel like May, that's for sure. For you, it's going to feel like February or March or something like that. You can see going into New Mexico, a strip of heavy snow is possible. Even some snow on the Texas Panhandle. near Dalhart, Texas. Absolutely outrageous data here, let me tell you. And believe it or not, probably this is going to verify. This is not that far out in time, and our models have had quite a lock on it for the past, 5 days now? Now, as we go ahead, take a look at our future snowfall forecast here. Unfortunately, this site, for some reason, does not have the National Weather Service or the National Blend of Models, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to see this here. But you can see we're expecting a ton of snow for the Rockies here out of this winter storm. Potentially over 2 feet of snow, maybe 3 feet of snow in some areas. As we get down towards Denver, we could be talking around 8 to 10 inches of snow. A look at this for portions at Kansas, around 6 inches at this time of year. Wow. And then portions of the Oklahoma Panhandle, quite a bit of snow, and a lot of other areas too, say in New Mexico. Could be talking about a lot of that as well. All right, and with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning into today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Before I fully end, though, breaking news, we have a severe thunderstorm warning here. Down here for portions of, say, Gary, Indiana, heading towards Chesterton. So if any of you all are watching this video that are from that area, which I know some of you are, probably stay weather aware. We're seeing severe weather already popping off here across portions of the Midwest. But anyways, feel free to like the video, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this video with friends, family on social media, and I will see you all back here very, very soon. Have a wonderful night, everyone.